Remember to hit that like button, share your thoughts in the comments below, and subscribe to embark on this journey with us as we unveil our latest tales. Before I embark on my journey, I always conjure that brief introduction in my mind. It may seem like a simple routine, yet it possesses an uncanny ability to untangle the chaos within my mind. Today, uncertainty looms over me, casting a shadow on the beginning of my journey. The air is thick with unspoken words, a heavy burden that threatens to overflow at any moment. Let me take you on a journey into an event that unfolded, an unforeseen twist that altered the course of everything. It may sound unbelievable, but I assure you, every word is true. A sudden knock on my door shattered the silence, pulling me into a world of uncertainty. For decades, I have called this small neighborhood my home, a place where time seems to stand still. In this tight-knit community, familiarity weaves through the air like a warm embrace. Here, every face is a friend, and the simple act of sharing a smile or a few words can brighten the day. Neighbors are always ready to lend a hand, whether it's a cup of sugar or an egg, creating a tapestry of connection that binds them together. I'm not the kind of person to intrude on anyone's life, especially not someone I hardly know. Yet, there are moments when life hurls unexpected challenges your way. This time, the unexpected arrival took shape as my neighbor, Asher. Asher was never the kind of person I imagined would become a pivotal figure in my story. He's a man of few words, perhaps in his 30s, a solitary figure who often drifts through life in silence, shrouded in an air of mystery. For a few years now, he has occupied the house next door, our lives brushing against each other in fleeting moments. We've shared polite nods and casual greetings, yet the depths of our worlds remain untouched, the conversation never straying beyond the surface of mere acquaintance. But that day, I found myself in a battle, grappling with challenges that felt heavier than they had in ages. It was a time of turmoil, as I grappled with health issues that were far from ordinary. Each day felt like a battle, leaving me feeling fragile and forcing me to confront the very foundations of my identity. There's an uncanny sensation that accompanies the passage of time, a haunting realization that creeps in as the years unfold. You believe you've mastered every aspect of your life, but then, without warning, your body begins to turn against you in unimaginable ways. It had been a while since I last stepped outside. Fatigue washed over me like a relentless tide, each wave pulling me deeper into a sea of exhaustion. The aches in my joints throbbed with a persistent intensity, a cruel reminder that each passing day only seemed to amplify my suffering. As I sat by the window, my gaze fixed on the garden outside, a haunting question lingered in my mind. Would I ever reclaim the essence of who I once was? The weariness ran deeper than mere physical fatigue. The weight of mental strain bore down heavily. It struck me like a sudden chill. I'd been retreating into the shadows, distancing myself from friends, family, and the vibrant world around me. In that very moment, everything changed. A sudden knock echoed through the silence, reverberating with an unsettling urgency. As I sank deeper into the embrace of my tattered chair, my gaze flickered, wavering between reality and the shadows of my mind, when suddenly, a sound pierced the stillness. Surprise gripped me as I stood frozen, uncertainty coursing through my veins. But then the knock echoed through the silence, more insistent this time. I swung the door open, and there he was, Asher. His typically reserved nature was momentarily lifted, a subtle smile playing on his lips. With a bag clutched tightly in his hand, he turned to me, his deep eyes piercing through the veil of my thoughts, as if he could unravel the very essence of my being. "Hey, Grace," he said, the sound of my name hanging in the air like a secret waiting to be uncovered. "I had a feeling you might appreciate this. I can sense that the weight of the world has been pressing down on you lately." A wave of shock washed over me. To my surprise, he appeared before me, unwavering and ready to lend a hand, as if he had sensed my need without a word being spoken. It struck me like a bolt of lightning, how desperately I craved someone to see me, to truly care. The impact was more profound than I had ever anticipated. "What is this?" I asked, forcing a casual tone, but the lump in my throat was growing heavier. Asher extended the bag, his grip firm and steady, as if it contained secrets waiting to be unveiled. "A few insights to guide you on your journey." As I stirred the bubbling pot of soup, the rich aroma filled the air, and a thought crossed my mind. You could use a warm bowl of this too. In a humble pot simmered a rich homemade chicken broth, infused with a touch of salt and vibrant vegetables, each ingredient whispering tales of warmth and comfort. I believed it could aid in the healing process. My eyes widened in disbelief at the unexpected warmth of his gesture. It was hardly anything at all. It was merely soup, yet it held a depth that surpassed my wildest expectations. In recent days, the kitchen had become a ghost of its former self, untouched and silent. Fatigue wrapped around me like a heavy blanket, stifling any desire to create a meal. Thoughts of food felt distant, almost foreign, as if they belonged to another life entirely. "Thank you, Asher," I whispered, my voice trembling with emotion. Words escaped me, leaving an unsettling silence in their wake. He nodded, the smile lingering on his lips, yet a weight of seriousness began to settle in his eyes. "Your silence has been palpable, a shadow lingering in the air. If you ever find yourself in need, whether it's a listening ear or simply some companionship, don't hesitate to reach out. I'm just a knock away. We share the same space, bound by the invisible threads of proximity." He turned abruptly, his back to me, and walked away, leaving me frozen in the doorway, clutching the bag of soup as a wave of uncertainty washed over me. My heart brimmed with fullness, yet a tempest of emotions churned within me. A rush of gratitude washed over me, mingled with surprise, and a twinge of shame that lingered in the air. How had I allowed myself to become so shut away, so utterly alone? So utterly alone. Despite having my family and friends around me, an invisible force was driving me to distance myself from them. In that fleeting moment, Asher's simple gesture struck a chord deep within me, awakening the stark realization of how far I had strayed from the very essence of what truly mattered. I stepped inside, the weight of the bag of soup heavy in my grasp as I settled into the chair at the table. As the steam from the soup curled around me, I felt a warmth that transcended the bowl before me. It was the unexpected kindness that enveloped me, wrapping me in a comforting embrace. In that moment, the chill of the world faded, and I found solace in the warmth of human connection. The words Asher had spoken echoed in my mind, haunting me with their weight. He had seen me, truly seen me, even in moments when I was blind to my own existence. How frequently do we navigate the labyrinth of our own challenges, so ensnared in our personal battles that we overlook the souls who share our journey? In that moment, a profound truth struck me. I had been blind to the richness of life unfolding around me. Perhaps the moment had come for me to begin to truly perceive, to immerse myself in the world once more. And thus, I found myself lost in contemplation. As the days unfolded, Asher's presence lingered in my thoughts, growing stronger with each passing moment. He had unlocked a part of me, a hidden chamber I hadn't even realized was sealed away. It was more than just the soup. It was the moment when someone truly saw me, extending a hand without a hint of judgment or expectation. A small door creaked open, and in that fleeting moment, I felt the warmth of companionship wash over me, banishing the solitude that had lingered for far too long. Yet, I remained blissfully unaware that this was merely the dawn of an extraordinary journey. Asher's unexpected assistance would unravel a series of events that I could never have foreseen, a transformation that would alter the course of our lives forever. After Asher's visit, everything changed. I wouldn't claim to have been miraculously healed, not at all, but a subtle change stirred within me. The weight in my chest began to lift, and suddenly, the world around me came alive with details I had long overlooked. The soup held secrets, whispers of a past that lingered in every simmering drop. It was a tale of someone who paused in the chaos, who truly saw and felt the weight of another's existence. A wave of simple kindness washed over me, stirring a deep awareness of how profoundly disconnected I had grown from the world around me. It forced me to reflect on the last few years of my life, a haunting journey through missed connections and the silent corners I had retreated into, where I had allowed myself to fade into the shadows. After that moment, Asher began to weave himself more intricately into the fabric of my days. It was nothing extraordinary, merely the fleeting wave from across the yard, a handful of casual conversations about the weather, or a quick exchange of words as I carried out the trash. Yet, An unspoken bond lingered between us, a silent acknowledgement that resonated deeply within our souls. A delicate thread seemed to weave between us, drawing us nearer with every fleeting moment that slipped by. On a fateful evening, mere days after Asher had delivered the soup, an unexpected turn of events unfolded. Once more, I found myself nestled in my favorite chair by the window, the golden light of the setting sun spilling into the room, wrapping everything in a warm embrace. For a fleeting moment, I found solace in the improvement of my body. The weariness had begun to fade, and the pains were now more bearable. Yet, the tale of my mind unfolded in a starkly different manner. The air was thick with unease, swirling with questions that danced just out of reach, taunting me with their elusive answers. It was then that the knock echoed once more, sending a shiver down my spine. This time, I felt a strange sense of inevitability wash over me. In truth, I had a sense it was coming. The notion that someone took the time to reach out was like a beacon of hope in a turbulent sea of doubt. I rose to my feet, carefully brushing away the creases from my tattered sweater, and made my way to the door. Once more, Asher appeared, a small basket of vibrant fruit cradled in his hands, a casual smile dancing on his lips. "I thought he might appreciate something fresh," he murmured, his voice a gentle yet unwavering whisper. I gathered a handful of items from the bustling market, each one a small treasure waiting to be discovered. Within these pages lies a treasure trove of remarkable insights waiting to be uncovered. Apples glistened in the sunlight, pears nestled closely together, and a couple of ripe peaches added a splash of color to the scene. I grasped the basket from his hands, a wave of gratitude washing over me as his kindness enveloped me once more. "Thank you, Asher. I understand, yet my desire compels me to pursue it. I have no objections. You've been drawn into a world where shadows whisper secrets, and every corner holds a mystery waiting to be unveiled. The air crackles with anticipation, and your heart races as you navigate through the unknown, each step echoing with the promise of adventure. What lies ahead is a journey that will test your courage and ignite your imagination, pulling you deeper into the story that unfolds before you." Your silence has been palpable, a heavy presence in the... "I thought you could use a little something to lift your spirits." I nodded, a silence enveloping me, words escaping like shadows in the night. His words wrapped around me like a warm embrace, a gentle balm that pierced through the solitude, making me feel seen, as if the shadows of invisibility were finally lifted. But then, as I stood there clutching the basket of fruit, a shift flickered across Asher's expression. His eyes darkened with intensity, his posture stiffening, as if bracing for an impending storm. "Grace," he began, his voice dropping to a whisper, laden with unspoken weight. The question struck me like a bolt from the blue. I had buried myself in a mask of politeness, concealing the turmoil within, pretending that all was well. It struck me like a bolt of lightning. I had been skillfully dodging the truth, not just about my health, but about who I truly was. Asher was the first person in ages to meet my gaze with genuine concern, to truly inquire if I was okay. A wave of uncertainty washed over me, leaving me momentarily paralyzed, grappling with the right words to say. The truth loomed like a tangled web, each thread pulling tighter, making it nearly impossible to discern its hidden depths. Rather than responding immediately, I beckoned him inside. "Would you like to take a moment to rest?" As the kettle began to hum, the air filled with the promise of warmth and comfort. I reached for the tea leaves, each one a tiny treasure waiting to release its secrets. The steam curled up like whispers, beckoning me closer to the ritual of brewing, where time seemed to pause and anticipation danced in the air. Asher nodded and stepped inside, and for a fleeting moment, we were merely two souls entwined in a hushed, unremarkable realm. I filled the kettle and placed it on the stove, the comforting ritual anchoring me in the present. As the water simmered, we lingered in the cramped kitchen, our chatter drifting to the mundane, news from the neighborhood, the fickle weather, the familiar rhythm of our small talk. The weight of his question lingered in the air, a palpable tension just beneath the surface, poised and ready to be confronted. At last, after what felt like an eternity of silence, I found my voice. "I don't know," I murmured, my voice barely above a whisper, betraying the uncertainty that gripped my heart. I've come to realize that my struggles run deeper than I've ever allowed myself to acknowledge. It transcends the mere physical realm. It's the all-consuming weight of isolation, the haunting sensation of slowly dissolving into the shadows, unseen and unheard. It struck me like a bolt of lightning. I've been dodging the truth of my life for far too long, and now, the weight of it all feels almost unbearable to share. Asher remained silent, his presence a quiet anchor in the storm of words swirling around him. He remained seated, absorbed in the sounds around him, his face a canvas of contemplation. He appeared unfazed, his gaze steady, as if the silence between us held a weight that neither of us dared to disturb. He seemed to exist solely to absorb the moment, a silent witness to the unfolding story around him. In that moment, it was as if the universe had bestowed a precious gift upon her. "You don't have to face this darkness alone, Grace," Asher murmured, his voice barely breaking the heavy silence that hung between them. "I understand the struggle all too well. I can see it clearly now. Yet, there are moments when a simple conversation, even the briefest exchange, can alter everything. There's no need for masks or shadows. I've arrived." His words, unadorned yet sincere, enveloped me like a comforting embrace, wrapping me in a sense of safety and warmth. It struck me like a bolt of lightning, the sudden awareness of just how desperately I craved that reassurance. The weight of those words hung in the air, a lifeline thrown into the depths of my solitude. I craved the warmth of acknowledgement, the simple yet profound act of someone daring to voice what I longed to hear. There's an undeniable strength in the sensation of being truly recognized, a depth that transcends mere appearances. Asher had made that sacrifice for me. He had glimpsed the shadows of my soul, the fragments I concealed even from my own gaze, and in return, he extended a hand of understanding, free from the weight of expectation. The air crackled with tension, a palpable silence enveloping us, heavy with unvoiced feelings that danced in the space between. Words eluded me, yet in that moment it felt as if I didn't need them at all. Asher's silent demeanor resonated with unspoken truths. There was no urgency in our steps. In that fleeting moment, we could simply exist, free from the weight of expectations pressing down on us. And in that moment, it struck me. He wasn't merely extending a hand. There was something far deeper at play. He was extending a lifeline, an invitation to delve into the depths of my soul, to unearth a fragment of my being that had lain dormant for far too long. A flicker ignited within me, a sensation long dormant, awakening a thrilling sense of possibility. A simple gesture of kindness began to unravel, revealing layers of connection that hinted at something deeper, something profoundly meaningful. It was more than just Asher bringing me soup or fruit. It was in the way he had swung open a door I hadn't even known was shut tight. Yet, despite the depths of my vulnerability, uncertainty loomed over the path ahead. What I sensed was a profound shift within me, an end as fate would have it within Asher as well. And that change was merely the dawn of something far greater. The days that followed our last conversation unfolded with an eerie tranquility, as if a fragile understanding had woven itself into the fabric of my connection with Asher. We held back our words, letting silence weave its intricate web between us, as the weight of unspoken thoughts lingered in the air. In truth, our conversations barely grazed the surface of anything meaningful. Yet, an electric tension crackled in the atmosphere, hinting at an undeniable transformation unfolding between us. Anticipation coursed through me as I realized how much I craved our moments together, far beyond what I had ever imagined. Uncertainty wrapped around me like a fog, blurring the lines between gratitude and something deeper. Each encounter with him sent a thrill through my veins, quickening my pulse and igniting a spark that felt both exhilarating and terrifying. It wasn't love, not yet, but it was something deeper. A burgeoning connection that thrummed with both warmth and unease, pulling them closer into its enigmatic embrace. There were moments when I found myself lost in his gaze, pondering the mysteries hidden behind those gentle eyes and the subtle, contemplative movements he made. As dusk fell, the moment finally arrived. The sun blazed overhead as I toiled in my garden, nurturing the flowers that drooped and faded beneath the relentless summer heat. The sensation of being outside enveloped me, the crisp air invigorating my senses as my hands plunged into the earth, unearthing its secrets. Gardening had always been a passion of mine, a cherished pursuit that had woven itself into the fabric of my life for years. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the ground, I wiped the sweat from my brow, an unsettling urge tugging at my instincts to check on Asher. A strange sensation washed over me, unlike anything I had ever experienced. In truth, I found myself wanting for nothing, or so I thought. Yet his presence haunted me, a shadow lurking in the depths of my thoughts. With a quick swipe of my hands on a rag, I set off toward his house, just a few steps down the street, the air thick with anticipation. As my knuckles rapped against the door, uncertainty swirled within me, leaving me to ponder what I truly sought on the other side. Perhaps it would be nothing more than a casual dialogue, a warm interaction, reminiscent of those we once shared. Yet, the moment he swung the door open, an unsettling change washed over the air. His eyes held a shadowy depth, and his smile wavered with uncertainty. "Grace," he said, his voice laced with an unexpected edge of astonishment. "Greetings! Greetings! What brings you here today?" Was I? Before I could rein in my thoughts, the words slipped out. "I was just thinking about you." A flush of embarrassment washed over me, the weight of my confession hanging in the air. I felt a strong urge to reach out, to see how you were holding up in these uncertain times. Asher stepped back, his subtle gesture beckoning me into the unknown. "I'm fine," he said, his voice steady as he guided me into the living room, "just working on a few things around the house." Yet, Asherith, his words lay a palpable tension, a sharp edge to his tone that demanded my attention. We settled into our seats, the air thick with anticipation as we exchanged casual remarks about our neighbors, the shifting weather, and the mundane details of life. Each word felt like a thread weaving us closer together. Yet the weight of unspoken thoughts lingered just Asherith the surface. But the air between us crackled with an electric tension, thick with unspoken words, a question lingering just beyond our grasp. At last, after what felt like an eternity of silence, Asher leaned in, his intense, probing gaze locking onto mine. "Grace," he murmured, his voice barely above a whisper. "There's something I must share with you, something that's been weighing heavily on my heart for far too long." My heart raced, a sudden jolt of adrenaline coursing through me. His abrupt change in demeanor took me by surprise, leaving me momentarily stunned. This was not the carefree Asher I had come to know. This was a person with a weighty message, one that demanded attention and respect. He paused, his gaze piercing through the silence, as if weighing every word. "I've been thinking about us, about the way things have been," he continued, his voice unwavering yet charged with an unspoken urgency. Yet, an undeniable force pulls at my heart, whispering that there's something deeper lurking Asherith the surface of our connection. Though our time together has been brief, I can't overlook the undeniable connection that is unfolding between us. I sense a bond between us that transcends mere assistance. I remained motionless, caught in a moment that felt like an eternity. His words landed with the force of a punch to the gut, yet somehow, it was a sensation that stirred something deep within. It felt as though the truth was breaking free, and in that instant, all the chaotic thoughts that had been tumbling through my mind aligned into clarity. My heart pounded in my chest, a chaotic symphony of thoughts swirling in my mind, leaving me lost and uncertain about the path ahead. Asher laid everything bare before me, and now, the weight of my response hung in the air, heavy with anticipation. "I never expected this," I murmured, my voice trembling like a fragile leaf in the wind. "Honestly, I never expected anything like this to happen. My journey has been fraught with trials and tribulations. I'm not sure if I can bare my soul just yet." Asher nodded, a flicker of warmth crossing his face. "I see, Grace. At this moment I seek nothing. I need to share the depths of my emotions with you. I want you to understand that this is not merely a fleeting moment. My feelings for you, Grace, run deeper than I ever imagined they could. Deep down, I sense that you might be experiencing something as well, even if you're not quite prepared to acknowledge it." His words crashed over me like a relentless wave, pulling me under their weight. It had always lingered in the shadows of my mind, but when he finally voiced it, The weight of his words transformed the intangible into something undeniably vivid. Uncertainty wrapped around me like a thick fog, obscuring my true emotions. Yet, deep within me, a long-dormant force began to awaken, a sensation I hadn't experienced in ages. Perhaps it was merely the profound experience of being noticed, of truly being grasped. Or perhaps it was something deeper, a bond that transcended mere visits or fleeting acts of kindness. Never in my wildest dreams did I imagine finding myself here, amidst the chaos of everything that has unfolded. But I care about you deeply, Asher. I do. The silence stretched on, heavy and thick, as if time itself had come to a standstill. Asher remained still, silence enveloping us as he absorbed my words, the weight of the moment hanging heavily in the air. In that moment, he extended his hand towards me, his fingers enveloping mine with a warmth that sent a shiver down my spine, steady and reassuring. "I'm not asking for anything in return," he murmured, his voice barely above a whisper, yet it carried the weight of unspoken promises. "But I want you to feel my presence, unwavering and steadfast, right beside you. No matter where this journey leads, I stand ready. No longer must you face this journey in solitude." In that instant, a profound transformation stirred deep within me. It wasn't love, not yet, but it was the dawn of something profound. Something more intense than I had ever dared to dream. After what felt like an eternity, a flicker of hope ignited within me. Asher's presence had pried open a hidden door within me, one I never realized had been sealed tight. It was never merely about his assistance. It was in the depths of his gaze, the way he ignited a spark within me, awakening a sense of purpose I thought was lost forever. In the stillness of his living room, our hands intertwined, a profound realization washed over me. I was no longer alone. And most crucially, I felt no fear for what lay ahead. In the days that followed our conversation, an unspoken shift settled over everything, palpable and undeniable. Asher and I found ourselves drawn together, not merely assisting with the routine chores, but delving into conversations that unraveled our stories, revealing the depths of who we truly were. A sense of the unknown lingered in the air, as if a fresh chapter was about to be penned, one I had never anticipated. With each encounter, the bond between us deepened, and I found myself enveloped in a sense of ease whenever he was near. It had evolved beyond mere assistance. It revolved around him, around the fragile yet exhilarating connection we were gradually forging together. Our first real date unfolded, simple yet charged with an electric anticipation that lingered in the air. The evening unfolded at the quaint bistro just down the road, a familiar haven where I often sought solace in a quiet meal. Asher was determined to whip up a meal for me, but I resisted, proposing we venture out for a refreshing change of scenery. He nodded in agreement, yet there was a glimmer of satisfaction in his eyes, a hint that my choice had pleased him more than he let on. As we sat across from each other at the small table, an undeniable sense of ease enveloped us, a rare connection that blossomed only when two souls find true comfort in one another's presence. Silence enveloped us, a palpable presence that spoke volumes without uttering a single word. The laughter we shared echoed in the air, each gentle glance igniting a spark, while the unspoken understanding wrapped around us like a warm embrace, creating a world where nothing else mattered. As the evening deepened, memories surged within me, each one a vivid reminder of the twists and turns that had led us to this moment. It was astonishing how a single act of kindness had unraveled the fabric of my life, turning it inside out and revealing a world I had never anticipated. What I had once seen as merely a neighbor had gradually transformed into someone who held a significance in my life beyond anything I could have ever envisioned. After dinner, we ventured out, the cool evening air enveloping us like a tender embrace. The city streets lay shrouded in an eerie stillness, the distant hum of traffic, a mere whisper, lulling the night into a deceptive calm. We sat in silence, the weight of unspoken words hanging between us, yet the atmosphere crackled with an undeniable tension that hinted at something more profound. A heavy aura enveloped it, brimming with untold potential. "I'm glad we're doing this," Asher said, shattering the comfortable silence that enveloped them. His voice carried a gentle sincerity, wrapping around each word like a warm embrace. "Though our time together has been brief, an undeniable connection is forming between us. something that feels profoundly genuine. A smile crept across my face, my heart swelling with a rush of emotion. It wasn't merely the words, it was the way he uttered them, the undeniable truth woven into his tone. His words cut through the stillness, heavy with intent and meaning. What unfolded before me was entirely unforeseen, yet as the reality set in, an undeniable sense of fulfillment washed over me. It felt as though this was precisely the turn my life had been yearning for. In the depths of my own fears and regrets, I felt trapped, suffocated by the weight of my past. Yet, you emerged like a beacon, illuminating the path ahead. You revealed a world brimming with possibilities, a reminder that joy still exists, that connections can be forged anew, and that the heart can once again embrace the warmth of openness. Asher halted in his tracks, pivoting to meet my gaze. His hand reached out, softly sweeping a strand of hair from my face, his touch both tender and reassuring, igniting a spark of warmth within me. Grace, the shadows that once haunted you have finally receded. No matter what challenges lie ahead, we will navigate them side by side. I stand my ground, unwavering and resolute. In that moment, a profound tranquility enveloped me, wrapping around my heart like a warm embrace. It wasn't the epic romance I had envisioned in my youthful fantasies, but it was undeniably authentic. It was raw and unfiltered. It was a partnership, a profound bond crafted in the hushed moments that held the greatest significance. As the months unfolded, they became a whirlwind of fresh encounters, endless strolls, deep conversations, and fleeting moments of profound connection. Our bond deepened, forged in the fires of trust we had painstakingly cultivated between us. In the quiet moments, amidst the mundane, a deep-seated affection blossomed, subtle yet undeniable, as instinctive as the very act of drawing breath. A profound realization began to dawn on me. Love often unfolds in the quiet moments, where the absence of fireworks reveals a deeper connection, and the simplest gestures carry the weight of unspoken devotion. In the quiet moments, it's the little things that resonate, the way a person leans in, their eyes reflecting understanding, the warmth of their presence when shadows loom. It's in those instances when they stand by you that you truly feel seen and valued, as if the world has paused just for you. Asher had surprised me in ways I could never have anticipated. His unwavering patience, boundless kindness, and silent strength had woven a tapestry of healing within me, transforming scars into stories I never believed I could tell. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm glow across the living room, we sat side by side, drinks in hand. In that moment, a profound certainty washed over me. I was exactly where I was meant to be. Questions faded into silence, and the uncertainty of reality dissolved into clarity. It was undeniably real. It was unfolding before their eyes. "I never thought I'd be here," I murmured, the words slipping from my lips like a secret meant only for the shadows. Asher's smile spread across his face, his eyes sparkling with warmth as they crinkled at the corners. "I understand." I understand. Nor did I. Yet, there are moments when life steers us down unforeseen paths, leading us to the very places we were meant to find. In that fleeting moment, the weight of realization crashed over me. Asher's unexpected help had altered the very fabric of my existence. A fresh lens had been bestowed upon me, revealing a profound appreciation for the quiet, unwavering bonds that hold true significance in life. My healing wasn't solely due to him. In the quiet spaces between us, we found healing. It was in the way we stood by each other, unwavering, through both the fleeting whispers of everyday life and the thunderous storms that tested our resolve. As I gazed at him, perched beside me, a singular truth pierced through the haze of uncertainty. Life unfolded in the quiet, unassuming moments. It was a tale of those unwavering souls who stand by your side, time and again, guiding you on a journey to uncover the depths of your true self. In Asher, I discovered the one I had been searching for. Amidst the swirling uncertainties, a flicker of determination ignited within me. For the first time in years, I felt an exhilarating readiness coursing through my veins. Prepared to face whatever lay ahead, a newfound strength surged within me, for I was no longer alone. In that moment, a profound truth washed over me. It was everything I had ever truly sought.